video I'm going to be showing you my favourite books that I read in 2016. I have about 12 books here, so I'm going to try and get through them quite quickly. Some of these books I've mentioned more in depth either in their own reviews or in separate monthly reads, so I'll link any videos if I go more in depth about them. So let's just get started. There's no particular order. I can't remember really the order that I read these in, so let's just get started. The first one is one that I read more recently. Definitely a standout, and I love the film, and that is Room by Emma Donoghue. It is about a woman that gets captured when she's about 19 by this man and imprisoned into a shed that he has built in their garden. She ends up having his child called Jack, and it's about them living in this room for about 5 years and then planning their escape out. I really enjoyed it. I will link the video to where I talked about it more in my holiday reads video, but I just loved how it was told from Jack's point of view, but it didn't seem childish. He seemed to have a very good eye on the world, and it was interesting to see how he thought of different subjects that went on within Room, how he had adapted, because Room is all that he knows. So I really enjoyed that. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Some of these I can't remember the ratings I gave them, but they were all sort of like 4 or 5 stars. The next one is Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I really enjoyed this. It sort of has multiple plot lines between sort of about 3 different mothers. It's set in Australia, and it's sort of surrounding these mothers and their kids all go to the same school. They're in the same year group, and you know that there's some sort of they all contain their own secrets that just sort of intertwine, and there's a murder at the end of it, and you sort of know this from the start, and as the book goes on it sort of uncovers more and more secrets, and you start to piece things together. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those that just keeps you guessing till the end, and even though there is multiple plot lines, you don't get too confused, or at least I didn't, because I know sometimes I can do if there's multiple characters and stories going on. So really enjoyed that. The next one is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Obviously it was made into a film, of which I've seen and was really good. I've also read After You, but I thought I would just mention this one seeing as it was sort of the best one out of the two. It's about this girl called Lou who ends up working for Will Traynor. He is a quadriplegic, I believe, so he doesn't have any use of his arms or legs through an accident that he had, and she is taken on by the family as his carer, and her aim is to sort of make his life as best as it can be and to eventually stop him from wanting to go to Switzerland and kill himself. Really good book. I love to see how their relationship progressed through this. It does have a very sad ending, I will say. Definitely not the happy ending that you want, but nonetheless I really enjoyed it, and the second book is pretty good as well. The next one I read was The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. Again, turned into a film, so there was a lot of hype around this in 2016. I did enjoy this. It was different from what I initially expected it was going to be about. It's about a girl that catches the same train every day, and every day she passes her old house where her ex-husband lives with his now new wife and baby, and throughout this book there is a woman that goes missing, and it's all about how they're all sort of somehow connected. The main girl in this, Rachel, has a bad alcoholic problem, and so that brings its own troubles in with it and sort of gets itself all messy within the storyline. I really enjoyed it. I read it on holiday. It was a really quick read. So again, another book I really enjoyed. The next one, sort of going along the lines of murder mysteries. I feel like I read a lot of sort of murder mystery type things. Not hardcore Agatha Christie. I did read a few this year, but more other sort of crimey mystery sort of books. So this was The Missing by C.L. Taylor. I actually bought another book of hers, The Accident, which I plan to read next month or this month, and this is about a 15-year-old boy who goes missing, and it's about 6 months on and the family is still like appealing for any information or any help to where his whereabouts may be. And again, it's just one of those ones that keeps you guessing right until the end. Just, you think you've got it all sussed out, and then something else, like another little piece of information will happen, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. So again, another one of those that just keeps you like turning the pages throughout. And I really liked C.L. Taylor's writing style, hence why I bought another one of her books. Yeah, and this is one that I picked up on holiday, so as you can see, it's been well loved from everyone that's been reading it at the hotel. The next one, which I talk more in depth about in my December read, so I won't go into too much, but it's about a guy that goes and volunteers to work on an island and maintain the lighthouse, and about how he meets this woman who comes on the island with him, and they end up getting married, and they are trying desperately for a baby. They have about 3 miscarriages, and then one day a dead man and a crying baby rock up onto their shores, and it's all about them taking in this little baby as their own, and whether they should keep it, whether, like, it definitely tests your morals and who you think the baby should stay with, whether it should stay with them or their the baby's actual biological mother. So again, I really enjoyed this. I liked the location, being set like off the coast of Australia at a lighthouse. It was something that you don't, I personally haven't read a lot about before. The next book was Faceless by Alyssa Shinmel, I want to say. And this is about a girl called Maisie who ends up having her face partially burnt off in an accident. From what I remember, she goes on a run and there's like a storm and she gets caught up in like an electrical fire. And it's all about how she ends up coping with her newly formed face. She ends up getting a face transplant, and how she looks in the mirror and now sees a completely different person, and how like her relationships change with like friends and family. And again, it's one of those books that it happens to real people, and this is something people genuinely have to go through on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. When something so tragic happens and they have to adjust so quickly to it. So I really enjoyed reading this book. On the back it says, this book in 3 words: emotional, challenging and drama, and I think that pretty much sums it up. The next one I read was Disclaimer by Renee Knight, again another sort of mystery murder, and this is about a girl who, they move house and suddenly this book ends up being on her nightstand, and this book seems to be written about her. So there's all these like secrets that this girl called Catherine once had, but also secrets that her partner has that she doesn't know about. So it's sort of them to figure it out, and I really enjoyed this as well. Again, another like murder mystery book. The next one is probably the only sort of like dystopian teen-ish book that I'm including in this, and this is Perfect Ruin by Lauren DeStefano. It is about a floating city called Internment that sits sort of above Earth as we know it, and they're forbidden to think about the edge, what could be underneath the edge, what lies at the edge of their world. So basically their world is like flat, and she loses her older brother, in the sense that he's not dead, but he becomes sort of a different person. He jumped off the edge, and that has had repercussions, and it's all about, let me read you the back of the book because that's probably going to explain it more, considering I read this quite a while ago. It is forbidden to think about the world beyond the edge, and too much curiosity leads only to disaster. The loss of her older brother taught Morgan that lesson. He jumped and fell. With the support of her fiancé and close friends, Morgan resumes a normal life as possible, as she struggles to accept her brother's decision, until the incredible happens and the opportunity to investigate the city's deepest secrets becomes impossible for her to resist. Nothing can prepare Morgan for what she will learn or whom she will lose. So there is like a couple murders that go on and a couple like mystery things at the start of the book, and I won't go into too much because otherwise I'll spoil the whole trilogy, but again, another probably one of the better dystopians that I've read of this year, hence why I included this in my favourites of 2016. So the last fictional book is The Memory Book by Rowan Coleman. It's about a woman that gets early onset dementia and was very poignant for me to read this year because obviously I've encountered a lot of dementia in my new job. And it's about this woman called Claire who, like I said, gets early onset dementia, and she starts to write this memory book, and it is really interesting to hear dementia from the person that's experiencing it. You also get the thoughts of the people around her, but to actually get it from the person who knows that they've got it in those early days is really interesting. And throughout the book she starts to slowly lose more and more of her memory, and I just really enjoyed it, and I think it's something that everyone should really read to understand dementia a bit more, especially early dementia, because when you think of it you tend to think of people in their 80s, but she's only about 50 in this book, so that's pretty early to start getting it. So yeah. And then the last two books are sort of lifestyle-y books. The first one is Spark Joy by Marie Kondo, and obviously, you know, the life-changing magic of tidying up. I've done that for a couple of years now. I'm actually going to be doing some of it after I finish recording this video. I don't think I'll film the process just because I've done it a few times before and I just want to really immerse myself into it. But this is sort of the more illustrated version. It goes in slightly more in depth. Oh, I'm really not showing any pictures there. That was very useful. Let's see. Yeah, you can see there are some more illustrations. So if you have read the first book, it's definitely a book to pick up, especially sort of around this time of the year when we're all wanting to sort of clear out after Christmas and all that. But if you haven't read the first book, this is definitely a book that you can read without reading the first book, purely because she does go in quite a bit more depth about other little areas. But like I said, it probably is best to read the first book first. And if you're thinking, I've read the first book, do I really need to get the second book? I was like that, but there are a few aspects into this book where I was like, they don't really cover that in the first book. And I did do a review on this, so I'll leave that below if you want to know more about it. And then the last book, again, I did a review for, so I'll link that down below. And it is Bloom by Estée Lalonde. I really enjoy this. It is about her life, but it also makes you think about your own life and the way you view it, the way you view things within your life, from family and friends to your own appearance to general house lifestyle things and what you keep within your space. I really enjoyed this. I think it's a very empowering book, not only for women but also for guys as well if they wanted to read it. And like I said, it's not only a biography of her life, and it's not really a biography of her life, actually. I probably shouldn't say it because it's not it doesn't go in fully in depth about everything that she's done, but it is a semi-biography of her life, and then also makes you think about your own life, and I really like that about it. So yeah, those are all the books that I am including in my 2016 best reads. Let me know what your favourite books of 2016 were, and I'd love to know because I might put them on my list for 2017. I think I've set a challenge of reading 40 books this year on Goodreads. I set myself a goal of 30 last year and I think I did about 62, which was really good. I read a lot. So yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.